This video is especially for the woman whose life looks perfect on the outside, but when it comes to matters of the heart, aka love, it seems to be that one area that you struggle, that you find it hard to work. No matter how successful, how polished, how self-aware, capable, and intelligent you are. And I know you are the top performing leader, an expert. You make things happen when it comes to your career, when it comes to your finances, when it comes to achievements. You are the go-getter. Whenever it comes to dealing with big responsibilities or your team, your leadership, and your expertise, you're the woman that people come to for advice. But when it comes to love, it just seems to be this one part where you feel like you seem to be going back all over to square one again. Because no matter how much you try in order to land on a partner, in order to find safe, secure love, you seem to be encountering men who either are not emotionally available, are emotionally distant, are closed off with you, or you find yourself with men who do not commit or who don't put in as much effort as you do, and your relationships seem to be one-sided where you're more on the giving end rather than the receiving end. And I know that deep down you are exhausted because you've tried to make it work with everything under the sun. You have tried to improve yourself. You have tried to become the high value woman. You have tried to look better, to dress better, express yourself better, communicate better. You try to look feminine and mysterious and be elegant, and you have tried all the dating tactics and strategies on how to make a man interested, how to get his love. But no matter how hard you try, the block is still there. And the hardest part is that unlike other areas of your life, like your career or your business, where when you put effort, when you set an intention, things seems to go into that direction, yet in your love life, it seems to be going opposite, going south. It feels like you're successful everywhere else except in that one area that you find it to matter most, that you want the most. It seems like your love life is that one area that you just can't seem to figure it out. And if that is the case, what I want you to know is that you're actually not alone. This is actually very common, especially among the women who come into my work, women who are type A, women who are and have long been in the personal development realm, women who are perfectionist, overachievers, high achievers, women who have so much willpower, drive, and determination to have a life that looks all put together. But when it comes to love, it seems to be the one thing that you find it hard. And in this video, I want to share with you why this happened and how the perfectionist actually finds her way to safe, healthy, secure love. And in order to shift that around, what you need to understand is that the reason why many perfectionists struggle when it comes to love is because the truth is what perfectionism actually is that it's a pattern inside of you that believes that you can only be loved when you are perfect. In other words, it's a little pattern. It's that part of you that believes that love is conditional, that love is not readily available, is not easily available. It believes that you can only receive that love, which is scarce, which believes that love is scarce. You can only get scraps of it only when you become perfect, only when you become the person that other people want of you, only when you become this image that other people look up to. And don't get me wrong, perfectionism has served you a purpose. The reason why it is still here is because it has allowed you to survive. And in fact, you may even call that as success because it has given you that grit, that motivation, that hard work when it comes to your career, when it comes to achievements in other aspects of your life. But when it comes to love life, this pattern we call perfectionism ends up sabotaging your love life, because what that perfectionism is that it genuinely believes that there is something wrong with you, that you need to fix yourself, and only when you fix yourself, then you can be loved. Then you can get the reward. And guess what that is going to do? In your love life, you find yourself being hyper vigilant. You check phone every 10 minutes to see if he has responded. Your mind cannot stop thinking about replaying the conversations that you had with him, ruminating on what you should have said, you shouldn't have said. You try to present this persona to the guy that you're meeting, that you're on dates with, trying to be that cool, chill, but also funny girl, the put together girl, the mysterious, the feminine one. You try to fit into that box of perfectionism in order to earn his love. And at the same time, even though you put so much effort into this relationship or the almost relationship, you doubt yourself on whether you're good enough or whether you're too much. And guess what? Because you are doubting yourself, because you believe that you need to fix yourself in order to be loved, that also means that you're more likely to stay into relationships or situationships with men who don't accept you as you are. In other words, your relationships feel like this thing where you have to fit into a mold, this tight, narrow mold, and only then you can be loved. It feels like your relationships are this exhausting weight that you need to carry, that you need to figure out, that you need to fix in order to get the commitment you want, in order to receive the love, the devotion, the affection, the consistency that you want. All of which are simply repetitions of what we have experienced in our past. Because in the past, when you were growing up, it felt like you had to be perfect, because otherwise people are going to criticize you or judge you, because otherwise your parents are not going to love you, or your school teachers, your peers are not going to see you, value you. And because of it, in your love life, there is this security guard. It feels like there's a security guard, a security system inside your head that is running 24/7, making sure that you are the perfect girl, the perfect woman that he would love. Otherwise, you might be rejected, you might be not chosen, you might not be valued. And that, my love, is why love feels hard. Because you haven't learned to accept yourself as you are, to be loved as you are. And that, in fact, was what one of my clients, in this video we'll call her B, client B, went through in her love life. B is a very emotionally aware, highly intelligent woman. She has a great career working at IT, has a nice, stable, secure job. But when it comes to dating, she finds herself begging for love, twisting herself in order to be loved, hyper-managing when it comes to love. In other words, her love life feels like this heavy weight that she has to carry on all by herself. For example, when she does meet men, when she is talking to men, she feels like she has to be the one who has to initiate, who has to plan ahead, who has to check in, who has to act as the emotional glue of the relationship. And when she does check in, she has to make sure that he is responding. Her mind would be constantly fixated on the screen. And until she sees his text, she would feel this pit inside her stomach, can't focus on anything else. Even when she's hanging out on family on her vacation. And when she is meeting men, when she is going out on dates, she finds herself performing, laughing at jokes that she honestly actually didn't find funny. And deep down, she was this introverted soul, but she's afraid of being herself. She worries that she might bore him. And if she orders something at a restaurant, it'll be something so small so that he doesn't see her as too much. But these are just examples to show how before B came into my work, she found herself hyper managing in terms of her love life. Just like how she manages her career, how she manages her team. But what it actually was deep down is that her nervous system always feels on guard. It feels anxious. It feels like it's on the verge of a collapse if she made the wrong moves. And because she didn't feel safe to relax, she's constantly forcing things, proving things, trying to earn things. And as a result, men didn't pursue her because they can sense that energy of hypervigilance, hyperfixation, that control, that grip inside of her. And in order to shift her love life in the work that we do together, first, we arrived into the awareness of this pattern that has been running the show. We become aware of perfectionism. And this is important because what perfectionism actually, that is simply a fear. It is a fear program running inside of you, and as long as you are holding onto fears, it's like holding in onto a gunk. And when there is gunk, you cannot receive pure water, which is love. And the same way, we have to first release these fears inside our system, becoming aware of them and releasing them, such as fears of the fact that she would be rejected, she would be abandoned, she would be judged if she was anything less than perfect. And this is important because as long as you are in the perfectionism, as long as you are run by this fear program, love will always seem like it's out of reach, that it is hard to catch. You will undervalue yourself because you do not see love inside of you. You do not see who you are, and guess what? You're going to attract men who do not treat you as such. And when they do treat you, you're going to sabotage the relationship. You're going to cling to it and then feel deprived and anxious anytime you are not around him. And that all of that comes down to the fact that there is this fear program, aka perfectionism, that is running in your life, specifically your love life. And two, it's not just about the awareness, because the awareness only works when you are actively thinking about what is here. But in the spur of the moment, when you receive a breakup text or when you receive a rejection of some sort, you're going to go back into that anxiety, that restlessness, that hypervigilance, and then spiral back into your old patterns again. This is part of the reason why simply watching YouTube videos or learning about your patterns from books and just understanding in theory does not work, because it has to go deeper in. It has to actually land into your nervous system, land in your body. And that is the other step on what we did, which was for her body to feel safe regardless of what she does, regardless of how she performs, regardless of the outcomes, the results. Because only then she becomes free to express herself. Then she becomes her true self. It's almost like you can think of your whole life as though, think of the fact that there is this tight shoe that is wrapping around you. And because there is this tight shoe called perfectionism wrapping around you, the blood flow is cut off, which is why gasping for air, which is almost like you're gasping for love. But when you actually release that tight shoe, when you actually let go of that grip, that constriction, then blood can flow. And here, love arrives into where you are. You feel the presence of love, no matter what you're doing, no matter whom you're with. And that, my love, is the most important activation that you need to experience in order to shift your love life around. When you become whole, when you connect to the love that always exists, no matter where you are, no matter how you look like, no matter what you do, here then other people are drawn to you, including the men, especially the right men, the men who are able to hold you, love you in the way that you desire, the men who align with your values. And guess what happened? After shifting and rewiring the inner state of her being, not just in her mind, but actually how she experienced day-to-day life in her body, that was when things started shifting. Men start pursuing her, men start planning dates, men start showing up consistently, and she feels like she doesn't have to overgive and overanalyze and overfunction anymore in her love life, but she said that she can breathe now, especially around men. And that, my love, is what led B to connection. That was what led B to love. And in her case, calling in a partner into her life who is emotionally stable, who is secure, available, and was devoted to pursue her. All of which is to say, if you have perfectionism, the way on how you receive love in your life, in your love life, in your romantic life, the way on how you receive is not through more perfectionism. Because as long as the perfectionism is running the show and trying to get to earn love, the love will be limited, the love will be finite, the love will feel really scarce. It feels like this carrot that just come into your life and then go back out out of reach. And this happens because the perfectionism is not who you truly are. The perfectionism is not your true self. And until you come back to who you really are, until you realize who you truly are, that you are beyond this perfect self, beyond this perfect image that you feel that you need to put out into the world, until you realize who you truly are and until you own that, not just in your mind, but actually experiencing that through real safety, through real connection, through real embodiment, moment to moment in your body. Until then, love will feel out of reach. Men will give you hot and cold treatment. It will feel like men aren't giving you the love that you want. And that, my love, is because you first need to receive that love, embody that love, and code that love within yourself. And if that is the type of support that you're desiring, that in fact is what my one-on-one coaching does. In the work that I do with my clients, we go deep into, it's not just about getting someone, but actually about changing the way that you relate to others, relate in your dating life, changing the way you feel, the way you experience love, and therefore shifting the type of love you receive and attract. And if that is what you're desiring, and you also want to find out the exact block that is holding you back in your love life, book a free one-on-one consultation call to shift into the transformation that your heart has always wanted. The link is in the description box below. Much love.